Well, it's not really a problem, but you have to understand a lot of folks are trying to have Navy Fed credit card pre-approval. In other words, they're not looking for a hard pull, but they want a soft pull. So in today's conversation, we want to bring the case of a 27-year-old who earns about $38,000 a year. And the thing is, he wants to have Navy Fed credit card pre-approval tips. The thing is, he cannot afford a hard pull now. I mean, so the thing is, when is it a good time to afford, quote unquote, afford a hard pull? So in today's conversation, we're going to talk about that. So if you are interested in Navy Fed credit card pre-approval tips, I want you to stick around till the end. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sorty Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, we have a case of Chad. So Chad is a 27-year-old male, and he earns about $38,000 a year. And he's basically, he wants to have Navy Federal credit card pre-approval tips. And the thing is that he cannot afford a hard pull now. So what's really going on here? So dear viewers, we are trying to summarize the case for you. It has been a long series of emails from Chad, but we want to summarize it for you so you know exactly what's really happening here. So Chad is a 27-year-old male. He earns about 38 grand a year. He's a Gap store associate. So he works actually at Gap stores, and he's married. Right now, there is no kid, and he plans to buy a house in 1 year. So the thing here is that because he wants to buy a house, he's trying to preserve his FICO score. That's why he says, I cannot afford a hard pull right now. And he joined NFCU in 2020, so pretty recent member. And he primarily banks with Bank of America. So the thing here is that even though he has an account with NFCU, right now he actually channels most of his cash into two Bank of America accounts. So he has a Bank of America checking account and also a savings account. And his FICO score is 685. So I'm just giving you the gist of the situation. The thing is that after a series of emails with Chad, the thing here is that he wants the credit card pre-approval from Navy Fed because he has learned that they have a lot of great cards with rewards. For example, he wants to have the Go Rewards credit card. And the thing is that he cannot afford a hard pull. He cannot afford to lose 10 points or 15 points for that matter if he had to go through a hard pull. One thing we explained to Chad is that every credit card, before they finally approve you, they need to run a hard pull. So the whole thing about I cannot afford a hard pull is really, it's not a strong point. You will have a hard pull in the end anyway. But we do understand that in the initial phase, you do not want to have a hard pull. So dear viewers, here is the gist of the situation. So feel free to pitch in if you want to contribute to the conversations. We'll really appreciate it. First things first, Chad. So we heard your request. And the thing here is that you need to understand when we talk about pre-approval, Navy Fed credit card pre-approval, you need to understand what it is really, because I think there has been a lot of confusions in the public when it comes to credit card pre-approval. See, the thing here is that getting a pre-approved offer can be a good sign when it comes to your odds of qualifying for a new credit card account, either from Navy Fed or another institution. However, it's not a guarantee of approval. See, that's what I really want you to understand. It's not a guarantee of approval. So, I mean, simply because you were pre-approved doesn't mean that you are approved, okay? Some card issuers may use the term pre-approved without a soft credit inquiry. So even with a firm offer of credit that includes a preliminary credit check, you still have to apply to open a new account. That's what I said. So be sure to note on any documentation you receive from the issuer, whether you have to apply through a dedicated link or include a specific application code. The thing is, the Navy Fed actually, sometimes they will send you a pre-approval offers through the app, through the mail, regular mail, via email, or when you log into your account online, you will see a link in your account dashboard. You can see a link there. So NavyFed has several avenues to actually contact you. Remember, it's a soft inquiry, so they're not doing a hard inquiry initially. But once you agree to go through the whole process, they'll let you know anyway. NavyFed, or again, any other financial institutions for that matter, they'll let you know, hey, listen, are you comfortable with us doing a hard pull on you? Yes. Okay. So then you just follow the link, and then you actually get approved. Now, you have to understand, when it comes to pre-approved, sometimes you hear the terms pre-approval and pre-qualification. By and large, they mean the same thing. I'm not going to get into the technicalities in today's conversation because there is a subtle difference between those two. But in today's conversation, for all intents and purposes, for a NavyFed credit card pre-approval, when we use the term pre-approval or pre-qualification or pre-qual, they are interchangeable. Okay, Chad, I want you to really get that. Now, there are several ways. There are several online tools you can use to figure out if you are a good candidate for certain types of cards. Okay, and now we are actually escaping we're getting out of the scope of the NavyFed credit cards. For all credit cards in general, there are tools. Okay, for example, you can use Card Match to discover whether you pre-qualify for certain card offers from American Express. Okay, or if you go to Capital One or you go to Discover, there are a lot of tools, and NavyFed has that too. Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure you understand. If you do not get a NavyFed credit card pre-approval, you have other cards that may interest you. One thing I want to say here, Chad, I'm still talking to you, and I want to contextualize today's conversation for you. Now, you might be denied for a pre-approved offer of credit from NavyFed or other institutions. Okay, so that's why I really want you to really understand that, having accounts with only having two accounts with only one financial institution. In this case, you have a Bank of America. It's not a good strategy because you're putting all your eggs in the same basket. Obviously, you have an account with NavyFed, but that account is pretty dormant. Like you said that you are keeping $25 in that account. That's not a good thing. So what I want to say here is that there are certain scenarios that might actually jeopardize your chances of getting pre-approved for a credit card. For example, if you have negative credit changes, okay? Credit changes that indicate you could be now a riskier borrower might cause a credit card company such as NavyFed to change its mind about a pre-approved offer, okay? Things like late payments, lower credit scores, higher credit utilization, new credit inquiries, right? Or other types of information that NavyFed or another card issuer considers to be negative. So it's very important to really understand that you might be denied for a pre-approved credit card from NavyFed. That's why I was just telling you earlier that you need to actually broaden your context. Don't put all your eggs in the same basket. If you have debt to income issues, this could also be detrimental to your chances of being pre-approved for a credit card from NavyFed. Okay, in other words, NavyFed is looking at your fundamentals, and they're thinking, this person has more debt relative to his income. Not really good. Or in some cases, NavyFed, every now and then, they have internal policy changes. In other words, they can say, this year we're not really giving too much credit. We're not giving too much credit, or we're just restraining the credit that we give to folks. So there is a constellation of factors that could make you be denied for a pre-approved offer of credit from NavyFed. The thing is, don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Things change. If you don't get approved, let's say if you don't get pre-approved within 6 months or 3 months, you could be pre-approved within a year or 2 years. It's not about just, being panicking because you don't get approved right away. No, things happen. So, Chad, solution idea number one. So your big question is, you want to get a NavyFed credit card pre-approval, and you don't want to have, you cannot afford, to use your own words, you cannot afford a hard pull. Well, the thing you want to do here, if you want to have a NavyFed credit card pre-approval, you want to start good credit habits early. This is really important, Chad. See, you are quote unquote lucky right now because you are married. Things seem to be stable in your relationship. You have no kids yet. So you have, and you're making 38 grand a year. So you basically should start saving. But the most important thing is you want to pay more than the minimum on your credit cards. I don't know how many credit cards you have, but you need to start good credit habits early and pay more than the minimum. So if the credit card is asking you, if you charge, let's say, ideally you want to pay the full balance, right? If you charge $1,000 on a card, you want to pay the full amount by the due date. But if you cannot do this, you want to pay as much as you can. And you always want to stay below your credit limit. This is really important. So the thing is, on this show, we always recommend a credit utilization ratio of 30 to 33%. So this is for us very important to actually have a clear threshold. So you never want to go beyond 40%. When we talk about CUR, your credit utilization ratio, you want to be in a nice ballpark of 30 to 35%. The lower, the better, okay? And you want to review your statements for accuracy. The thing is, credit card issuers, they're not perfect. I mean, stuff happens. They have glitches and whatnot. So you might have some errors creeping into your statement every now and then. So this is why we always say you want to thoroughly analyze your credit card statements. You never know. Okay, if you don't recognize any charge on your credit card statements, you definitely want to contact the card issuer, or you want to monitor also your credit score and reports. Okay, so this is really important. You want to check your credit reports occasionally. We tell folks on this show to continually, twice a month, or if you can't do it, once a week. You want to check your credit score and credit reports. People might say, well, this is really a lot, but hey, listen, you never know. It takes 5 minutes. Literally 5 minutes to check your credit reports. So you can go, there are a lot of credit reports, free credit reports providers. And yeah, okay. And you want to apply only for the credit you need. Do not apply for multiple credit cards or loans over a short period of time. Okay. Solution idea number 2. Chad, we're still talking to you here. You need to have a clear idea of what your credit score is. See, the thing here is that you just send us an email and you say, well, my credit score is 685. Okay. How sure are you that your credit score is actually 685 and not 650 or 615 or 585 or even higher? It could be higher or lower. My thing is you want to ascertain your credit score. See, it is a number, but that number is important. That's why I was just telling you earlier, you want to hook up with those free credit report providers. I'm speaking about, you have CreditWise from Capital One. You have another service from Discover. Most banks and credit unions, for that matter, including Navy Fed, now they provide free access to credit reports and scores for their cardholders. So the thing is, you want to pair up with one of those services. You have a Credit Karma, you have Nerd Wallet, you have Wallet Hub, okay. And the thing is, they are giving you this service for free because they need your data. See, every now and then they'll be sending you some offer because they want your business. So that's why they just providing this service for free. Free, in quote. So what's my point? My point is you need to know your credit score, because your credit score is going to determine your probability of getting a Navy Fed credit card pre-approval offer. Okay, so and the thing is, I want to reiterate the fact that your credit score is not just a constellation of your past habits in terms of your past credit habits, but also it is it's just a sum of what you're doing right now. Let me explain. See, the thing is that every month you are making payments. Every month, that's the present. Every month, you're charging. You are paying you're paying off those balances. The past, that means you probably had some charges in the past, or you probably had. You told us you never filed for bankruptcy, which is great because a bankruptcy can really be really fatal to your chances of even become a Navy Fed member in the first place. So my point is what? The more you know your credit score, the better. You want to keep your balance in balance. You want to keep your debt to income ratio below 33%. You want to make sure that you are able to know exactly how much you owe. That way, you don't end up with monthly payments you cannot afford. See, this is important. So Navy Fed may want to check your debt to income ratio before approving your credit card before approving or before handing you a credit card pre-qualification offer. Very important. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another session of the Awesome Sorty Kiwi Show. We are still having a conversation today about Navy Federal credit card pre-approval hacks and tips, and we are responding to all the viewers out there who like Chad, a 27-year-old male who earns about 38 grand a year and works at Gap as a store associate, wants to know more about the process. Okay, now the thing you have to do here is that the third thing you want to do, you want to check whether or not you are pre-approved. Okay, so before you apply for any credit card from Navy Fed or another institution, you want to check pre-approval. You want to check for pre-approval. Now, again, there are a lot of ways you can do this. Our preferred way to do this is to try through the app. So Navy Fed has a fantastic app, and that app has they have a lot of functions and functionalities and modalities, whatever. You can do a lot of stuff from the app. You can check whether or not you are pre-approved. In other words, Navy Fed will send you a link, or they will send you a notification that says, hey, listen, you are pre-approved for the Gold Rewards credit card, or you are approved for the Navy Fed Platinum cards, whatever. Okay, so the app is the first location. The second geography here is basically your online account. So when you log into your account, you will see a notification. It could be an email, or it could be just a note that says you pre-qualify for this card, and you click on the link and you just follow the prompts. The third location where you can get in the mail. I mean, they've been doing this, especially if you live in the Midwest. They've been sending emails. I mean, they've been sending regular mails, USPS mails. So they'll send you the stuff, and they'll actually explain everything to you. They'll tell you the card that you qualify for, and they will tell you the rest of the process. So it's very important. So you have three ways. In some cases, I mean, that was years ago. I'm not really sure they're still doing it, but you can actually be pre-approved over the phone. Actually, so if you have 685 is a good credit score already. And so if you have good credit score, if you have good or excellent credit score, they could actually pre-approve you over the phone, because Navy Fed has those, they have those automatic features whereby, based on your credit history and based on your financial situation and relationship with Navy Fed, you have there are permanent pre-approval offers on your account. So those are really important to check. You need to check whether or not you are pre-approved. Solution idea number 4. And this is really, really important. Chad, you are making a big mistake right now by not banking enough with Navy Fed. So the whole thing is, you said, well, my primary bank is Bank of America. Listen, we have nothing against Bank of America. We love them. We have accounts with them. We do business with them. But the thing is, if your goal is to have a Navy Fed credit card pre-approval offer, you need to actually beef up. You need to strengthen. You need to buttress your relationship, your banking relationship with Navy Fed. First of all, you want to set direct deposit into your Navy Fed account. This is the first thing you want to do. You need to set direct deposit into your Navy Fed account. I'm not asking you to do 100%. I'm not asking you to do 50%. I'm asking you to do something. Try something. 20%, 10%. Navy Fed needs to see some cash inflows from you. So if you have a dormant account, your chances of getting a Navy Fed credit card pre-approval are, guess what, dormant. So in other words, you need to actually wake things up in that department. So you want to set direct deposit into your Navy Fed account. You want to update your income. So what I want you to do right now, either through the app, over the phone, or online, you want to log into your account, and there is a section whereby you can actually update your income. Very important. Okay, you joined Navy Fed in 2020. Were you making 38 grand this year? Were you making $38,000 last year as you were making this year? I mean, have you gotten a raise? Because we know that at Gap, they usually will raise employees or store associates once a year and whatnot. So you want to update your income. You probably, when you got into Navy Fed, you were making 35 grand or 32 grand. So, there has been changes in your financial life. So you really want to update that info in Navy Fed. What I want you to do also is you want to go to a branch. You want to go to a branch. The thing is, you want to communicate your desire for a Navy Federal credit card pre-approval offer. Sometimes you'll be surprised. Sometimes it's amazing how just communicating what you want, how speaking up can actually move mountains. So you want to go to the branch and very politely, you want to tell the rep, hey, listen, I would love to have a credit card pre-approval offer from you guys. Yeah, just say it. Okay, but again, you want to be very, very polite, and they'll ask you why. Well, because blah 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 blah. You gotta give the reasons why. Very important. Thank you so much for your attention. Really appreciate it. So this wraps it up for the case brought over to us by Chad. And Chad wanted to know Navy Federal credit card pre-approval tips and hacks. And dear beloved viewers, we love you. And we know you are very smart. We see it in your comments. We see it in the emails that you send us. Please feel free to pitch in and help Chad and others who are in a similar situation find out the best way to get a Navy Fed credit card pre-approval offer. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.